The stars over Earth twinkled in silence. The war was over, or so it seemed. After the fall of the Zarnok mothership and the destruction of the second Dark Core, the 5 elemental guardians, the Starborn, had returned to their realms. Zek, now a radiant fusion of Sparkborn instinct and alien Starborn power, watched from atop the Sky Temple. Below him, Earth was slowly healing. Dinosaurs began to rebuild. Herds moved freely. Sparkborn hatchlings, glowing with soft blue lines, played in the meadows without fear. And Korra, though scarred from battle, stood tall again, guiding the next generation with pride. But peace, as always, was fragile. Far out in the sun-bleached sands of the eastern wastes, something ancient and broken stirred. Beneath the ruins of the fallen Zarnok mothership, a half-forgotten device, buried during the chaos of the final battle, blinked to life. Its casing cracked, then bloomed open like a black flower. This wasn't a bomb, it was a clone pod, and what it birthed was no ally. The being that rose from the pod bore the twisted features of Kador, the Thunderborn who once gave his life to save the Earth. But this creature was not Kador. Its armor was corrupted, its eyes glowing with unnatural static. It bore the name Kador Null, the result of a Zarnok failsafe project known as Shatterseed. Born not from life, but from stolen DNA and distorted memories, Kador Null had only one purpose: erase the flawed. Meanwhile, high above in the Sky Temple, Zek stirred from meditation. A deep pulse hit him, not just energy, but a nightmare. In his vision, the sands turned black. Creatures roamed with warped spines and cracked bones. Villages burned beneath a familiar yet horrifying roar. He opened his eyes. He's returned, Zek growled. But not as he was. Without delay, he summoned the 4 remaining Starborn: Fireheart, Earthbound, Deepwake, and Stormglide. Together, they met at the cliffs of the Great Divide. Zek told them what he'd seen. He looks like Kador, he said, but he's hollow inside. A weapon, without a soul. The others stood silently, listening. Earthbound, whose voice rumbled like a landslide, replied, "Then we meet him in battle, before he poisons more of our world." And already the poison was spreading. Across the eastern wastes, Sparkborn began to mutate. Their minds lost, their bodies warped into something between beast and machine. Black spires of alien metal rose from the sand, pulsing with an echo of Zarnok technology. Kador Null led them. When Zek finally met the clone in the wild, he felt a cold wave rush through his core. "You're not Kador," Zek said, standing firm. "You're just a glitch." Kador Null stared with soulless eyes. "I am his perfection. You are the virus." Without warning, they clashed, claws lightning fury. But the clone was stronger than expected, absorbing damage and evolving mid-battle. Zek was thrown into a ridge and lay stunned. By the time he rose, Kador Null had vanished, and the desert behind him had changed into a biome of rot and ruin. Zek knew they had little time. He returned to the Sky Temple, where the central crystal pulsed. Something old stirred inside it. Not another enemy, but a memory. A projection. It was Kador himself. His image appeared, recorded before his final stand. His voice echoed, rich and warm. "If my shadow rises again, you must face it. But not with rage, with memory. I chose life, not power, and that choice is yours now." Zek clenched his claws. "Then I know what must be done." The final confrontation came at Stonefall Basin, a sacred valley where Sparkborn emerged from the soil. If it fell, so would the future of their kind. Kador Null descended with his army of the infected. Black clouds rolled in, the ground cracked. The 5 Starborn stood in a circle, Zek in the center. "No mercy," he said. But no fear, the battle erupted. Stormglide tore the skies open with wind. Fireheart engulfed the infected in lava. Deepwake flooded the cliffs. Earthbound shattered ground spires and tossed enemy beasts like stones. And Zek went straight for the clone. They met in the center, mirror against mirror. Kador Null fought with sheer rage, but Zek had something more. Purpose, memory, unity. They clashed in a whirlwind of light and shadows, claws against claws, lightning against void. Finally, Zek saw the moment, the false Kador's glowing chest core pulsing wildly. He struck, not to destroy, but to disrupt. To wake it up, the core cracked. Kador Null staggered, gasping for the first time like a lost soul. "What am I?" he whispered. Zek stepped forward, placing a claw over his chest. "You were someone's idea of perfection. But Kador chose to be more than power. He chose to protect, and with that, Kador Null faded to dust. The black spires crumbled. The corrupted Sparkborn were freed. The desert, long silent, felt clean again.